Yeah, you better listen. I'm bringing heat, you'll be a fan when I start rapping. Way I'll have your fucking head spinning. I'm known as spit vicious. Release bombs, they go tick tick. Boom, you blown, leave that head missing. I'm a phenomenon, stacking cheese like it's Parmesan. 8 different flows, call me Octomom. I'm moving fast like the Autobahn, and I'm independent, so I'm not your fucking starving like it's Ramadan. Sick, twisted, gifted, can't copy, printed, can't hold me down. I shape shift, I'm liquid. I killed this beat, I might get convicted. They know how I move.
Hello, you lovely cups. Welcome to today's What If scenario. What if Naofumi was summoned earlier? Now, before I continue, hit that like button and that subscribe button as it helps me out and it helps out the channel, so it would mean a lot to me. Oh, and if you haven't already, do consider joining the Discord. It would be a pleasure to have you there. Also, today's What If scenario is going to be about what if Naofumi was summoned earlier, not the other heroes, so only Naofumi gets summoned earlier. Without further ado, let's get into it. Our story starts in the kingdom of Melromark, a month before the worst wave of catastrophe. The queen, Morelia Q. Melromark, is currently discussing with her husband and her trusted right-hand man, Sayeto. They were warned about the first wave coming in a month through a warning system some adventurer had found in a dungeon, so they were discussing what to do. My queen, our armies are surely strong enough to beat the waves without the need of heroes, King Altgrey would say. Surely we don't have to rely on such legends to defend our country, he would finish. You're right, but still I can't shake this uneasy feeling, the queen would say. She had been feeling uneasy for some reason, ever since the news of the first wave came in. How about we summon one hero before the wave starts? For example, the spear hero. The other countries wouldn't mind since they can summon one of their own, Sarah would say. That is a good idea, although we would have to discuss it with the other countries first, she would reply. Then shall we make arrangements for a meeting? Sarah would ask. The queen would ponder for a second, giving a confirming nod after thinking about it. Sarah headed out to send the messages. The king would just sit there pondering what hero they should even summon. The next day the queen would be heading out to meet with the other countries to discuss the summoning of the heroes. Melty would tag along with Malty staying behind. 3 days would pass since the queen's departure, when suddenly the queen would issue the order to summon the hero anyway. Nobody really knows why, but some say his daughter coaxed him into it. If the queen was worried, then he had no reason to not summon a hero, was his reasoning. He made sure, though, that they would only summon one hero. 4 days later, now 3 weeks away from the first wave, a few magicians would be performing the summoning ritual. Sayada isn't here to stop the king as he is going from village to village, making sure everybody is prepared for the wave. He had already departed the day after the queen's departure. Meanwhile, in a familiar bedroom, Naofumi Iwatani is playing games on his PC as he receives an email. He opens it and it's a weird story. He's intrigued as he starts reading. The book title says The Four Cardinal Weapons. As he opens it through a web link, it talks about a sword, a shield, a spear, and a bow. Naofumi remarks that the shield isn't really a weapon. He also sees a princess before his monitor starts lighting up very brightly. The next thing he knows, he finds himself in a stone room, with what he thought was a magic circle on the floor. Did the summoning go wrong? A voice said. Naofumi looked over to see a few men in robes. Hey, so where am I? Naofumi would ask politely. You're in the kingdom of Melromark, Sir Shield Hero, one of the robed men would say, while the other men were talking amongst themselves. Is something wrong? Naofumi asked. Well, you see, Sir Shield Hero, we actually meant to summon the Spear Hero, but the ritual must have gone wrong. We are truly sorry. Naofumi just took a second to think. Anyway, you summoned me, so there must have been a reason, so what's wrong? He asked. He still thought of all of this was a dream. Well, our world is in danger. If you will follow us, please, the king will provide you with more information, the robed man in the middle would say. Naofumi followed. He remarked on how the air seemed fresher. After walking for a while, he would find himself in the throne room, as he found himself before the king. The king, already being informed of the situation, knew that this was the only way their country stood any chance of surviving the wave. He spoke. Sir Shield Hero, please introduce yourself. Naofumi started speaking. My name is Naofumi Iwatani, and I'm 20 years old, and a college student. Naofumi seemed polite enough. The king explained what was happening to the world, and the waves of catastrophe that would occur. After explaining everything, Naofumi got told to check his status, which he figured out how to do after a minute. He got escorted out of the throne room after a bit, as he got brought to a dining table where he enjoyed some great food before being escorted to a bedroom. He thought to himself how cool it was to be in this fantasy type world, and he was excited to meet his new companions. The next day he would be escorted into the throne room where he found three people standing. In the middle was a red-haired girl, to her left was a man a head taller than Naofumi, and to her right was a young girl with a big hat. Sir Shield Hero, my daughter has chosen the finest heroes she could find to aid you on your adventures. We will also provide you with 600 silver coins to set you up correctly, the king would say whilst the man gave Naofumi the bag with 600 silvers. After which he just gave a speech about how he should try his best to save their world, after which Naofumi and his party left the castle. They started introducing themselves to Naofumi. Obviously, the princess started. My name is Malty S. Melremark. I'm at your service, Sir Shield Hero. Next up was the tall man who wielded the double-bladed axe. My name is Frederick, Sir Shield Hero, and lastly, the girl with the green hat would speak up. My name is Melissa, Sir Shield Hero. They all quite quickly finished introducing themselves. Guess that leaves me. My name is Naofumi Watani, but you can just call me Naofumi, Naofumi would say. The party members nodded in agreement. We should probably get some starter gear, right? Naofumi said whilst thinking about all the things they would have to prepare. Mine spoke up. I know this great shop where we can get some starter equipment, as she led them to her shop. They entered, being greeted by the tall, bald man. They introduced themselves, and Erhard did the same. So, we would like to buy some starter gear if possible, Naofumi asked. Perfect. What's your budget looking like? Erhard asked curiously. About 300 silvers, Naofumi said. Erhard brought out a chainmail armor, which they bought for 100 silvers. They bought mine some gear, which cost around 120 silvers, and they bought Frederick a new axe and plate mail armor, which cost another 120 silvers. They left the shop shortly after. Sir Shield Hero, didn't we overspend? Frederick would ask. Kind of, but we all needed upgrades. Melissa's the only one who was fine right now, Naofumi said, after which they went to the Adventurers Guild by request of Frederick, where they signed up as adventurers. They took a starter quest to kill slime monsters outside of the city. They went outside of the city as they started hunting the slimes. Naofumi quickly learned that he can't fight alone since he can only defend. They quickly clear the slime quest and proceed to level up a bit. All of them are near each other's level, with Frederick being the only one ahead by a greater amount. After Naofumi learns of the absorption function, he starts absorbing the slime leftovers, getting a few new shields. They head into the forest near the castle by request of mine, where they find plants used for medicine. Naofumi picks one up and absorbs it into his shield, unlocking the leaf shield. He uses the leaf shield as he picks up another plant, increasing its quality. He figures out that he can make a bit of money with this, so he grabs a few plants. They start fighting rabbit monsters, which levels them up quite a bit more, and they return to the city by night to rest up. Naofumi ends up selling the plants he got. He also bought and got a few tools that the medicine worker didn't need anymore. They went to an inn where they got some good food, which Naofumi thought was quite delicious, and after that they rented rooms to get some sleep. The next day the party headed back out. Naofumi learned a bit of blending medicine and other goodies, and the party just leveled up a bit. The next 5 days passed quickly. They had consisted of leveling, selling goodies, learning, and exploring. The hero's party's stats were as follows. Naofumi's level was at 19, Frederick and mine at level 20, and Melissa sat at level 17. On the 5th day, they went back to town. They rented rooms at the inn, like they did on their 2nd day, and after having a good meal, they headed to bed. The next morning, Naofumi gets woken up by the royal guard as they are banging on his door. Confused, he opens his door as one of the knights comes forth and starts speaking. Sir Shield Hero, Lord Sayet requests an audience with you, the knight says. Naofumi, tired and confused, decides to go along with it. He puts on his gear as he and his party head out. They arrive at the castle, as Naofumi is confused on why they are there. They enter the castle, arriving to the throne room shortly after, where they find a man with pinkish hair color. He had quite a nice outfit, so Naofumi thought he was a noble. The man spotted them as he approached them. "Ah, it's a pleasure, Sir Shield Hero," the man said, going for a handshake with Naofumi. Naofumi looked confused, but shook the man's hand. They introduced themselves quickly, and so did Lord Sayeto. The king walked in as well. Lord Sayed would bow to Naofumi as he started apologizing. This caught everybody off guard. As Naofumi started speaking, "Wait, why are you apologizing?" He would be confused about what was going on. Sayeto starts explaining this situation to Naofumi. As he begins to speak, it seems like everything becomes clearer to Naofumi. "Sir Shield Hero, your summoning wasn't supposed to happen. When we heard of the waves of calamity, we decided it would be best to summon the other heroes. Best to summon the heroes, but we had to discuss it with the other countries first. Namely, Siltfeld should have been the country that you got summoned to, but the king made a rash decision when neither myself nor the queen were here to stop him, and he summoned you. We do apologize for the trouble." Naofumi, less confused about the situation, speaks up. "So what will happen now? Will I go to Siltfeld or remain here?" Naofumi asked curiously. "Well, about that, we won't be sending you off to Siltfeld, as the queen is currently in discussion with Siltfeld and the other countries. We have decided it would be best and safer to keep you here for now, until you're ready to go to Siltfeld. Melremark also needs the most assistance, so it wouldn't be too much of a bother to you. Would you please lend us your aid, Sir Shield Hero?" Sayet finished saying. Naofumi thought to himself for a moment. Sayet seemed like a nice guy, and he did say he wanted to help, so why not? Plus, they must have a reason for keeping him here instead of sending him off to Siltfeld. Why not just help these people out first and then move on, he thought. "I mean, I promised I would help, didn't I? I intend to keep that promise," Naofumi would say. Sayet would smile and he started to laugh. "Excuse me, but you are exactly as the villagers of Lorolona describe you," he would finish. "Lorolona?" Naofumi would say in a questioning tone. "Oh yes, it's a demi-human village near the coast. They worship the shield hero there, just like in Siltfeld," Sayet would say. "Worship the shield hero? What do you mean?" Naofumi would ask. Sayet looks over to Naofumi's party and realizes they wouldn't share this information. "Let me explain," Sayet would say, as he started talking. "In this country, we worship the three heroes, the bow, the spear, and the sword. The shield doesn't get worshipped in Melremark. It even gets seen as the devil in some cases. But some of us are trying to stop this discrimination, but it might take a while longer before we are able to reach that point," Sayet would finish. "So, okay, I think I get it now," Naofumi would say. "Alright, well, if that's all, I think we should head out again. We still have much to do," Naofumi would say, but before he could leave, Sayet stopped him. "We would like to support you on your journey more. This was an order from the queen herself, after all. So we will be giving you a few things to aid you on your adventure," Sayet would say as he pointed at some weapons and armor pieces that were lying on a table. On another table there were a lot of monster materials and other things. "We would like for you to have this. Most of it is out of your level for now, but we believe you could put it in your inventory," Sayet would say. Naofumi looked at him confused as he spoke. "Inventory?" he said before Sayet pulled out a scroll. He gave it to Naofumi. Surprisingly, it was written in Japanese. It talked about the inventory function. Naofumi did as the scroll instructed, and the items got absorbed in his inventory. "Cool. I'll be holding on to these until we are strong enough to use them," Naofumi would say. "We have 2 more gifts for you," Sayet would say as he gestured to Naofumi to follow him. Naofumi did, and they arrived outside of the castle, where they found a cart with Philolials. "This cart will be yours to use. It should make traveling easier. We know you don't have much time left to get stronger, so this is our best bet," Sayet would say. He turned to Naofumi and gave him what looked to be a gold pass. "With this, you will be able to enter and exit villages without having to pay the entry and exit fee," Sayet would finish. "I wish I could help you more, but that lies beyond my jurisdiction and will require the queen herself to help." Naofumi thanked him, and shortly after they went their way. Naofumi had little over 2 weeks left. The first week, they traveled to nearby towns like Loot Village, where they did some leveling and mining. Naofumi unlocked new shields and got quite a few benefits from them. They also made quite a bit of money this week alone because of their sheer manpower. The second week, they did some bigger trips, passing by villages where they did trade, items that couldn't be found near the area, stuff like that. Naofumi also got associated with the merchant guild as he met Hickwall, a merchant he helped out on the road. His cart wheel had broken, and Naofumi, combined with the help of Frederick, would fix the cart, getting the merchant's gratitude. The same merchant showed Naofumi a lot of stuff like enchanting and making jewels, and all that. He learned all those skills within a short time frame. Of course, he still had a lot to learn, but he needed to focus on his goal. He didn't have much time left after all. They continued on their road, where they eventually came to the city of Luralona. They had slain enough monsters, as their levels were 35 for Naofumi, 36 for mine and Frederick, and 34 for Melissa. So they wanted to take a small break. Naofumi thought to himself that this party started to feel like a family to him. They had come to know a lot about each other. Frederick had a younger brother who he provided for. Melissa's father was sick, so she became a magician to try and find a cure. Naofumi made sure to give them the money to send back home. After all, they were like family to him. They arrived at a gate with a demi-human guard. "Halt! You must pay the fine of 10 coppers to enter this village," the demi-human man said. Naofumi reached into his pocket, grabbing the gold pass he had gotten from Sieto. He showed it to the guard, but the guard saw Naofumi's shield and he spoke. "Sir, you wouldn't happen to be the shield hero, would you?" the guard asked. "Oh yeah, I am," Naofumi said. The guard's expression changed as a smile formed. He opened the gate, welcoming the shield hero to the village. Naofumi thanked the man as they entered the village. The villagers all looked at Naofumi, interested in what the human business was in their village. Their cart came to a stop before a certain house, as Lord Sieto came out of the house. He saw Naofumi and spoke up. "Well, if it isn't the shield hero. Naofumi, what do I owe this pleasure?" When the villagers heard shield hero, they all started whispering to each other. "Well, you mentioned Luralona, so I decided to come check it out before heading back to the capital," Naofumi said with a smile, giving Sieto a handshake. A few kids came running down the road at that time, as one of them bumped into Naofumi, landing on their butt. It was a young girl with brown hair and raccoon ears. "I'm sorry, mister. Please forgive me," Raftalia would say, scared. Her friends would catch up to her, a young girl with blondish hair and a boy with black hair. Mine would be mad at the kids for not watching where they are running, but Naofumi told her it's all right, as he extended his hand to help up the young girl. Raftalia grabbed his hand. The young girl with them was freaking out. "Rafana, what's wrong?" Raftalia would ask. "It's the shield hero," she would say before fainting. Raftalia would look over, realizing that the person she bumped into was the shield hero, as she would bow and apologize. Naofumi would just pat her, though. "It's fine, you're still young. It's good to spend time with your friends," Naofumi would say. Rafana would wake up after Naofumi said what he said. As she came up to Naofumi, "What's up?" Naofumi asked. Rafana started to speak, as she said, "Please marry me." Everybody there was kind of shocked. Did this little kid really just say that? I'm sorry, but you're kind of too young for me," Naofumi would say. Siat would ask what's wrong with her age. Naofumi realized that this country's age of marriage is different from his own, so he had to explain to them about his country and all that. The day would fly by with Naofumi exploring the town and them trying a lot of different demi-human foods, which were all really enjoyable. Naofumi even made some dishes from his world because the village had the ingredients for them. Even mine, who had shown her distaste for demi-humans before, seemed to genuinely enjoy herself. The next day, they said their goodbyes. Raftalia and her friends came up to Naofumi as they asked if he would visit them again someday, and Naofumi replied with a simple yes. They left, arriving at the capital 2 days later. They stopped by the church, seeing that they still had a day before the wave would begin, so they decided to get the necessary replies and even get better gear. They rested up, and the next day they gathered before the church as the countdown began. But that's where this part ends.
Hello, you lovely cubs. Alright, I know, you're probably thinking, that doesn't sound like Dragon. And you're right. My name is Alpha, and the reason that I'm here is because Dragon is lazy. Figures, right? Anyway, I've come to tell you to like and subscribe. If you haven't already, comment down below. Oh, and I have my own channel called AlphaHog27, and I'll be uploading on that pretty soon. And it would mean the world to me if you could subscribe to that. The link will be in the description below, and hey, you never know, you might like my content. Anyway, have a lovely day, you lovely cubs. Peace out.
Tell me a story.
There was once a pale man with dark hair who was very lonely.
Why was it lonely?
All things must meet this man, so they shunned him.
Did he chase them all?
He took an axe and split himself in two, right down the middle.
So he would always have a friend.
So he would always have